Good evening, and thank you for tuning in. It is a pleasure to be back on CAN TV 21 one more time. We want to thank CAN TV and their staff for all that they do and all that they can do to continue to bring good information to the community. And we want to thank you, the viewing audience, for watching another week with Fathers Who Care. As I shared with you before, this show is committed to bringing on vetted individuals who are committed to the plight of empowering our future leaders. Yes. And this show would be none of the less. We're going to continue to do the same thing. We're going to continue to bring men who are making a difference in the lives of others that you don't always hear about. You don't always see them because they're actually doing the work. And so I want to introduce to some and present to others our guest this evening, but I want you to know that you are watching Fathers Who Care, and you should know after watching all of our shows that we are a force to reckon with when it comes to our babies. We love our babies. Yes. We're going to do whatever we got to do for our babies to empower our babies. Necessary. We got old school values. We believe in men being the leaders of their tribes and the leaders of their communities. We believe in men stepping up to do the work they have to do for their children and others' children. So that's what we're about. We know that many men can make a baby, but it takes a real man to be a father. And we're standing on that and we're believing in that. So I brought to you tonight some individuals who are giants in the field of education. I am not going to belittle any of their resumes because they are impeccable, and I wouldn't do any justice to try to read all of it. But I'm going to say this here: to my right, we have the senior vice president of Malcolm X College, up under the President Sanders, and on my far right, we have Dr. James. So we got Dr. Walker and Dr. James on the show tonight. Dr. James on the far end is an author of numerous books, and we'll talk about some of your books in a minute. But then we also have Dr. Walker here, Roy Walker of Malcolm X College, the third, who's the glue, the impetus, if you will, behind making sure that our young people are educated in the schools. And he's working feverishly at Malcolm X College to make sure that that college is doing what it has to do to bring in young people of color to empower them and take them to the next level. I'm so excited about this show. I wanted to talk to him about so much. I mean, I see him in a lot of meetings, but I wanted to talk to him so much about this initiative that's going on. I'm telling you, I'm excited. They're taking 100 young men to Africa. Who does that? All right? Absolutely. Who does it? And then they're doing, if I'm not mistaken, you correct me when I'm wrong, if I'm not mistaken, that you're also working in the possibility of trying to create an intercontinental educational facility. Am I in there somewhere?
That's true. I mean, we definitely want our name to become international, and we've already broached and started that process. And so for us, the sky is the limit. There's nothing that we can't accomplish.
Right.
We put our minds to it. We're starting right now with bringing these 100 men to Africa over the next 6 months. Thereafter, we are assured that there's more opportunities to follow. And we realize that, to my knowledge, this has never been done before. I had to do some research. I don't think that we've ever actually had a concerted effort to bring 100 black men to Africa for the purposes of redefining, reimagining their identity, and not let what's being perpetuated constantly in media, through TV, through news, to be their reality. We know they can make their own reality. And so we have to speak truth to power and let them realize who their full potential is, and not what people tell them they are.
Absolutely. So let's do this, since you brought it up that far. Let's do an intro. And when you do your intro, I'll know who you are. And it's okay if you choose to want to talk about what you do at Malcolm X, but we will have time for that. But I want you to come from just Roy Walker. Who is Roy Walker? What drives Roy Walker? What's your impetus that make you do what you do? We know the job is a job, but you take that to another level as well. Sure. But then once you finish, then Mike, who is Michael James? All right?
I think I know him.
Yeah, I think you know the guy too. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Whenever you're ready.
So it's interesting you asked me that question, because I had to think about it for a minute. And so, I like to look at Roy Walker in two different spaces. One, Roy as a young boy, young man. Roy as now becoming the man. Roy in my upbringing was someone who was pretty much raised by his mother, but who had his father in the background, right? Basically, my parents not stay together, and which is probably a common story for many of us.
Right.
And so for a long time, I didn't know it at the time, but I grew up not really realizing my full potential and having somewhat of a gap, a mist, a void in my being. Because I had to have that question about where my father would have been had he been there all along. Fortunately, my father chose to continue to stay in my life, and he is still with me to this very day. Of course, he's Roy Anthony Walker Jr. I like to joke with him, tell him that I'm new and improved version.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
But needless to say, Roy is inspired by who I came to be through my mother and the fact that my father did not leave my side. So I'm blessed to be able to have both parents in my life, and it made me realize who I really wanted to be as a person. I, similar to my father, but different, also had a child out of wedlock. And at the time, I had gone to college. I had not been in prison. I was not doing drugs. And so, when you grow up in my era, that was kind of like a thing you didn't hear about a lot.
Right.
So I kind of
Anomaly.
an anomaly. I grew up with a little bit of stigma about myself. I think, I'm looking good or whatever. But then when this young lady came and told me to have my child, it was I looked at it as a stain.
Okay.
And that was a very pivotal point in my life because I knew that I did not want to be a father. I couldn't understand how this was happening to me. I was very naive and very selfish in my thinking. And it took a mentor, another black man, to come to me and tell me, hey, listen, the way you're looking at this, I understand how you feel and you're scared. He said, but what is it that God might be trying to tell you about why this child is coming into your life?
Absolutely.
And so I had to, he made me sit back and think about it, is that, think about the blessing of it. And I had to think to myself, first, I had to learn to love myself, right? I was egotistical about myself,
right,
but I didn't really love myself because I didn't really, it was all superficial. And then when I really thought about it, I asked myself the question, how would I love Roy if he had a child in this world and was not a part of their life?
Okay.
I couldn't love that.
Okay.
I couldn't love me. So my decision to be a part of her life, because the mother did give me a choice now, which is also unheard of.
Yeah.
She was very wise and smart.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But she gave me that choice, and by virtue of her giving me that choice, gave me the opportunity to really sit back and think that don't be afraid of what's to come. Be afraid of what you're not going to do.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to choose to be a part of my child. And it's at that moment that I tell my oldest daughter, her name is Kayla Valentine, I said, it's at that moment that you made your daddy become a man. So I give her credit for daddy becoming a man. And if she's watching right now, and I hope that she is, but she's out of state, I told her, you will always be the credit that made daddy into a man. And so
fathers who care.
That's fathers who care. And that's what's gotten me and empowered me throughout my life.
Now, see what we're bringing to you this evening, and we're getting ready to get Dr. James on in a second, but what we're bringing to you tonight, it's focusing on education, the importance of education. We're entitling this show, Empowering Our Future Leaders Through Education and Community Engagement. However, we have educators with us, and so we want to stress the importance of education being the key to get you out of certain things, to get you out of poverty, to get you out of lack, to get, to put you in positions where you can matriculate and go to the next level. Education is the key. It's not just an acronym. It's not just a theme, a saying. Go ahead, Mike. Tell us who is Mike. I call him Mike, but it's Dr.
Who is Mike?
Yeah.
Mike is a miracle, really.
Yeah.
I was born, couldn't even talk. Couldn't talk at all. Couldn't say a word. But I had a praying mother. And this sister would come into my room. She said, baby, every day I came into my room and I would just put my hands on your face and your throat and your tongue and say, God, you gave me this baby, do something with him. She said that the doctors told her I would not be able to talk because my tongue had glued itself to my mouth. They freed it, but couldn't talk. And then one day, about 7 years later, I turned to my mother and said, Mother. And she said, I told y'all this boy would talk. So today I'm talking, okay? And I am just a testimony of what God can do through prayer.
Okay.
But then I watched my mother struggle with 7 kids by herself. No father figure whatsoever. So I said to myself, I said, Self, when you have children, divorced, single or not, you're going to be a father. You're going to be a father to those children. And God gave me 3 beautiful daughters.
Okay.
And I am a father to them. I will be a father to them until the day I die. So my single greatest accomplishment isn't my books or my PhD, it's being a father.
Well, now what we're going to do is, and you're absolutely right, that's why this show is called Fathers Who Care, because we accentuate what folks may not. We understand, and we don't do it for show. We
Yes.
know it's just the way to go. I mean, this is what we do. Those who know better do better, right?
Yes.
And young people can't be what they can't see, right?
That's right.
Now, I'm not knocking no one, nobody. However, men can raise young boys to be better men.
Yes, yes, we can.
Women can raise, hopefully, young women to be better women.
Yes, sir.
And that's the way God planned it, all right?
Yes.
A mother cannot be a mother and a father.
Right.
It
right,
just
right.
don't work that way.
Right.
I mean, it don't even go along with the grain. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's
Okay.
talk to you then. Tell me, what's going on at Malcolm X College that you are extraordinarily excited about? And tell those folks out there why the institution is the place to be.
Well, there's a lot happening in Malcolm X. It's almost too much to talk about just in one
Just
show.
anything you want to share.
But what we're most excited about right now is our I Am Male Mentoring Program, which
Oh,
is also
yeah.
into our Study Abroad program. So about
Yeah.
2 years ago, we started. We were doing some data analysis to try to figure out the students that were most at risk of not being successful.
Mm-hmm.
And not surprisingly enough, we looked at our young black men. They were the ones who were the least performers, just about in every aspect in our programs. And so the notion of what we can do to support them, we started and was born through our one of our faculty members, Professor Charles Brown. He pretty much created this I Am Male Mentoring Program. I am stands for I am African American male.
I like that.
Okay,
Excellent.
so it's I, and also I am is it. I am period, right?
Yeah.
And so when we did that, we saw that we had a 92% retention rate from fall to spring semester, which was higher than any time that we can look at in history when we look at young black men being successful at the college.
Can you please repeat the...
It's a 92%
Yeah.
success rate,
Okay.
retention rate.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So
just
when
want
we
folks
did-
to hear that.
When we did that, we knew we were on to something. And basically what we did was we paired mentors with mentees. And at the time, the mentees were the young black men at the college that was enrolled in our school and volunteered to be a part of this program. And we paired them with mentors. And the mentors were, at the time, men in the college that worked in various areas. We had janitorial, we had security, we had, of course, faculty, we had advising. So it wasn't so much that you had to be a professor, you just had to be in the college. And the goal here was to really just give these young men an opportunity to have someone in the college to be able to talk to when things and times got rough. As we know, life happens.
It does.
All the time.
It does.
But we also understood that given the history of black men in just secondary education altogether, you know, let's face it, the success rate has not always been that great. And so we knew that there was a stigma or mysticism or a lack of faith in educational systems to begin with because they may have been underserved before they came to us.
Right.
And so this was an attempt for them for us to ingratiate ourselves to them so they can better understand that there are people here who care about your success. And when you have problems that are coming your way, you get somebody to talk to, we can be that voice. We know we raise our young men to have a lot of pride.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is pride gets in the way of
Yes.
success.
Silence,
Because
too.
pride
Yes.
means that you don't want to tell anybody that you need
Exactly.
help
Yeah,
and that you can receive that help.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we need to, and let's face it, no one that's been successful did not have somebody that helped them out. Right?
Yeah.
So we really wanted to negate the notion that you are doing this all by yourself and that we believe and have faith in you. So when we did that, that program grew. People got word of it. we got an earmark from Congressman Danny Davis to basically help grow and explore not only the Black Male Mentoring Program, which now is bridging to the Study Abroad program, but also now bridging a way to get some of our young Black men to become EMTs and paramedics. And so now we're trying to get our young men involved with the Black Fire Brigade. I know you know Quentin Curtis.
Yes.
To really understand what it means to go into this profession, because once you become an EMT and you become a paramedic, it makes you more gives you an advantage to possibly become in the fire department. And more important than that, if you learn, and this is not my quote, this is Quentin's, if we teach you how to save a life, you're less likely to take a life.
I love that.
So when you look at it from that standpoint,
I love that
we
one.
need to make sure that we bring our young men into this fold of healthcare and academia, because there's a real jobs that are growing here that we didn't think that our community was readily aware of. And let's face it, I mean, healthcare is a profession, it's an industry that is forever going to be a desire and need. As long as the population is growing, and it is, healthcare needs are going to continue to grow as well. And so we don't want them to miss this opportunity to get involved in the college. And so now we're in a space where not only are we trying to grow our programs, but we're also trying to grow where we're offering them. So the other thing that I'm excited about is what we're doing at our Westside Learning Center, is that we're now making about a $5 million investment to expand on the edifice itself to include a community center, but it's going to allow us to serve 2,000 more additional students. And so to be able to do so, now we're able to spread the value proposition or our programming, not just at our Malcolm X main campus, but now a little bit further into the West Side community. And we're not going to stop there. Because you mentioned about international, you know, those are goals and desires that we have as well. And so we're trying to bring our message to some degree to different countries in Africa.
Well, I say this, and I say it proudly. I have been a proponent of the leadership and direction of Malcolm X. I've been around the school for some years. I've seen it a lot. I've seen a lot of people over it. I love the energy of the school. I love the commitment to empowering our people. I love the fact that you're coming out to the community to be involved, that you're actually involved, and that people are committed to learning at Malcolm X College. Yes. I hate the fact that we don't have a Malcolm X College like we used to have it down there, so we can touch it now. We got it up there, but it's all right. It's all right. I had to throw that in because I go far that back. But anyway, let's go over to you, James. James, what's your proudest accomplishment this year? I heard some talk. I know you're an author. How many books you wrote?
8.
8 books.
Wow.
8 books, and my newest book honors Black women. This is the first book to trace Black women and Black girls from the African slave castles to the slave ships, to the plantations, to the sex farms, all the way to Kamala Harris and Katanya Jackson.
Okay.
So in the tradition of Alex Haley, I am the first Black male writer to specifically trace Black women from the slave castles all the way to the White House and the Supreme Court. And this book is being considered for the Pulitzer Prize.
Okay. The Who Prize?
The Pulitzer Prize. Yeah.
The Pulitzer Prize.
Just want to check and make sure that you was
Pulitzer Prize.
So they hurt you twice.
Yeah. But my single greatest accomplishment is being in a biased charter school system that does not cater to Black boys.
Okay.
I am a Black male teacher. There's about 35 teachers. There's only one Black male. And these boys, like you say, gravitate toward me because they don't have it at home. So, people are like, well, you're a doctor and you should be teaching at a college or something, but Jones is the one that called me one morning and prayed for me and told me, you are where God needs for you to be, brother. You are in the charter school system, and that's where God wants you to be, and you are making a difference. And I tell you, When he got finished praying for me, I'm like, I am somebody.
Well, and God calls all of us for certain seasons and certain reasons, and He put us where He needs us to be. And everybody don't need to be everybody that somebody else is. Everybody needs to be who they are and what God called them to do,
Yes, sir.
and love what they do.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm more driven by the passion that we have for doing things as opposed to what we get paid for doing things. All right.
Yeah.
And so I know where your heart is at, and I know where it's been, but. See, just like He blessed you to continuously work in those charter schools, now He's blessing you to be a renowned author.
Yes, sir.
So those were some
Yes, sir.
gifts.
Yes, sir.
Because of your obedience.
Yes,
all
sir.
right? Because
Yes,
I
sir.
ain't got not one book. All right? Now, I tried to do some stuff,
Okay.
but I haven't completed it. But here you are with 8 of them, all right?
Could I say this?
You can say it, and then we're going to come back to Doc, and we're
Okay.
going to talk about some other things. Go ahead.
People think it's my doctorate degree. But I am being moved by a power greater than myself. When I write these books, I am under a power that I can't even describe. And once God is finished, I can't even write one more sentence to that chapter until the Spirit comes back on me.
Okay.
So all praises to God.
Absolutely. God gets all the glory. So talk to me now, Doc. Tell us what if some, which I'm sure young people are watching you today, and we want to encourage these young people to choose education, right? Choose the field of education. Learn out some to explore some of the activities that Malcolm X College can offer. Go ahead and promote the program. Promote the school.
So here's the thing. It's okay if you don't know what you want to do. Don't know what you want to do. And I understand that. And so one of the things I try to tell my young students about college altogether, it's okay not to have a plan and be clear about what you want to do. However, in order to win a game, you got to be on the court.
Yes.
Right? Education is just a big court. You have to look at going to school as being on the playground. And you're going to take shots, you might miss, but the point is you're still in the game. If you're not in school, the chance of you being successful professionally, personally, certainly financially, legally, are going to be diminished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to be diminished.
Yeah.
And so when you go to school, what it does, it puts you in a company of other people who are trying to aspire to increase their current lifestyle.
Okay.
You have to understand that you have to look what's in your community and what's around you. There's 9 times out of 10, that's where you're going to be headed.
You have a number that they can call if they're interested in learning more about Malcolm X?
Yeah. So it's 312-850-7050. 312-850-7050 if you want to learn about Malcolm X College and be directed to each department where you want to go. But essentially, we want to make sure that you come into our walls because the students are coming. They've been coming, and we want to take more. We want to help as many as we possibly can because we realize that the word is getting out that we are an opportunity for them to have upward mobility and success.
Absolutely.
And whether you want to be, we call it cradle to the grave, whether you want to become a nurse or become a mortician, we got all the programs for you. We got everything in between. Child development to learn how to be a preschool teacher. We have pathways to go to 4-year school because sometimes 4-year school isn't for everybody starting out the gate. And many times it's not for our population. So, they really need to think about community colleges as a first step. And I'm going to tell you right now, I can't tell you how many students that we have that already got 4-year degrees that come back and enroll in Malcolm X because they're making more money coming through our programs than they would have with the 4-year degree that they have.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's something that's powerful that's being missed and not being discussed more.
Okay, so look, you see what type of power we got on this show, and you know there's going to be a part two, because this is good stuff, and this is the stuff we need to be sharing. But I want to encourage those who are watching, if you're interested in education, empowerment, community services, give us a call at Fathers Who Care. Log into fatherswhocare.org. The number at Fathers Who Care is 773-287-5821, 773-287-5821. You have youth internship programs, drop-in services, youth leadership and development programs, youth council, community involvement, you name it. We're doing a whole lot of good stuff in the neighborhood, and we want you to be involved. Mike, give us some closing comments.
Okay, closing comments would be, thank God for black men like Doc and you.
Yeah.
Because I feed off of your energy
Yeah.
to the point that I'm not fighting this thing all by myself.
Right.
That there's other good brothers out here fighting the good fight, brother. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, Doc, give us some closing comments.
So here's the thing. Dream and dream big. Don't ever think too little or don't think too short of yourself. And there is power in every
Hallelujah.
civil living being alive. You're here for a reason. You got to serve your purpose. God has given each of us a purpose. And so don't diminish your power. Don't diminish your light. Put yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to make that light shine. And have faith in yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And there's never let pride get in the way for asking for help. There's no shame in asking for help.
So you heard it first here. And we're saying to you, be all that you can be. The skies is the limit. We know that all things can work together for the good for those who love God and who believe in God and believe in themselves.
Yes.
So we're saying to you, don't allow opportunities to pass you by. We're about presenting opportunities to you. So we want to thank you for tuning in to another week with Fathers Who Care. Next week, we anticipate State Representative Camille Lilly, along with some others. But we want you to know that if you need us for anything, give us a call at Fathers Who Care, 773-287-5821. And I want to thank Dr. Mike, Dr. Walker. These are men that you should know who are making a difference on the west side of Chicago, throughout the city of Chicago. I would not do them any justice by talking about everything that they do because I don't have enough time on the show. So what I'm recommending in person and in public is that I can do a part 2 with you all. If
Yes,
that's
sir.
okay.
Oh, that's okay.
Listen,
Be
God bless you.
honored, be
God
honored.
keep you. Keep up the good work. Can TV, thank you for all you do, all you have done, and thank you for making sure we have this venue to empower our community. So God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Mr. Jones. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Indeed.
Thank you, good guys.
Powerful, brother. Man, you got to